Hello, beautiful readers. Today is February 4th, and I have finished reading A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. Now, this book is kind of a collection of short stories, almost, but they're all connected somehow. So it kind of feels like she really wanted to write short stories, but made them connected enough to put it into a novel. We start off with a gal named Sasha, who has problems with some kleptomania, and she's trying to deal with it. And you get to see her life as she's dealing with this horrible problem that she can't get her hands around. And then we move on to her boss, and it's a completely different story about him and how he's dealing with a divorce and can't relate to his son, and dealing with the music industry that's completely changing on him, and he doesn't like it and doesn't know what to do. And just things like that go on from there. Because then we get to see his bandmates from when he was 17 in high school and the naughty things they did. And then go on to see one of the record producers from that time, and etc., etc. So each one of the stories is somehow connected to the previous one. Whether it's the boss or the friend or the whomever from the previous story gets another story all to themselves. And sometimes it's really tenuous, like there was a story about a gal named Ladal, who is a publicist, whose story I actually really liked. She was about midway through, and that's what hooked me to finish reading. But in that story, she's a publicist who's had a big fall from grace, and she's trying to deal with, how do I do this now? I have no money, and I have no anything that I used to have. So it's really interesting to see these characters at the beginning of the book are just like destroying themselves and relationships and just being horrible people. And then they move on, and a couple of them die, but for the most part, they get to have some kind of a redeeming quality later down the road. Whether it's that they finally quit doing drugs, or they've decided to become a doctor or do other good things with their lives, there's a lot of redemption in the end. So most of these stories at the beginning are just horrible things that I would not have finished reading this book had it not been for book club. I would have put it down and walked away a long time ago. But if you can get past things like explicit drug use, lots of drinking, explicit, well, not terribly explicit, but sex scenes that are really just, and things like that. If you can deal with those things, that's like maybe the first 5-6 chapters, then we get into the good stuff. And the redemption ones can be really good because it's realistic. It's not like these people decided that, or like became president and saved the world from nuclear destruction or something like that. It's realistic. Like these people, like if you're in music, they did something musically to redeem themselves. If they were in college, they decided to become maybe a doctor or something like that. So I really like the way all of the redeeming things came about, and I would recommend this book probably to certainly above high school, maybe above college, because there's lots of NC-17 things in here. So I recommend it, but with that explicit NC-17 tag. So if you can handle it, and even some adults might be too squeamish, honestly. I was. But it's good. So if you can get through all that, the ending is really a nice redemption at the end. So anyway, the next book I am reading is The Fault in Their Stars by John Green. And beyond that, I'm not quite sure what's coming up next. So if you have any suggestions for me, put them below in the comments. And I hope you all have a fantastic day and keep reading.